Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about Yahweh. He's a serial mass murderer. It's a hoary, hackneyed tactic of Christian apologists to argue that atheism leads to immorality and even to evil, and to cite the crimes of Adolf Hitler as evidence of this. But what about the crimes of Yahweh? Because if they actually occurred, the crimes committed by God in the Bible dwarf those of Hitler both in scale, remember when he drowned every single person on the planet, and sheer cruelty. Remember when he killed every firstborn child in Egypt? Now, Hitler probably wasn't an atheist, but let's just say he was. If his acts of war and genocide are an indictment of atheism, how do Christians, and Jews for that matter, avoid viewing the mass killings committed by God in the Bible as indictments of their religion? There doesn't seem to be a rational way. Luckily for religious apologists, there's always denial and naked hypocrisy. His credibility is suspect. For the perfect all-powerful creator of the universe, Yahweh sure is a needy son of a bitch, ain't he? Lengthy portions of the Old Testament, including 4 of the 10 commandments, are dedicated to demands for worship and declarations of power and authority. Who is the eternal God who made the world trying to impress? And why would such a being give a shit if anybody worshipped him anyway? Such transparent insecurity would cause me to doubt Yahweh's claimed omnipotence if I thought for a second that he actually existed. Also in question his omniscience. Either Yahweh doesn't actually know everything, or he gets a kick out of bullshitting the rubes, because have you read that creation story he gave to Moses? That thing is all kinds of wrong. He baits people to sin. For a God who supposedly can't tolerate the presence of sin, he sure spends a lot of time tricking people into sinning. The first and most egregious example of this is in the book of Genesis, where Adam and Eve commit the original sin by eating the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God doesn't want them to have this knowledge, see, so he explicitly tells them not to eat fruit from this tree, in what is clearly a trap designed solely to tempt Adam and Eve into sinning. If God really didn't want them to have that knowledge, he could have, not had that tree there, or not had a talking snake right next to it to talk Adam and Eve into eating the fruit. But that's not how it went down. Adam and Eve ate the fruit, their eyes were open, they realized they were naked, and they immediately covered the fuck up. And I maintain that that is what really pissed God off, seeing as we can tell from the rest of the Bible how he's perversely preoccupied with the sex lives of his followers. The ease with which he repeatedly commits acts of mass murder is the worst thing about Yahweh, but it's his obsession with sex that is the creepiest. From his irrational, inexplicable hatred of foreskins, to his fixation on sexual purity, to his imposition of the death penalty for having sex the wrong way or with the wrong people. God clearly wants all of us to know that he's not into any of that kinky shit, orgies or any of that gay shit. He hates it. It makes him sick. It upsets him to even think about it, which, like many of his more zealous followers, he apparently spends a lot of time doing. He plays favorites. Viewed from the outside, Yahweh looks like a tribal god with delusions of grandeur. But to hear him tell it, he's the guy running this whole show. He created the heavens and the earth, don't you know? And he created all of the creatures that live on the earth, including humans, which makes it all the more unpardonable that he would then select one particular group of those humans as his chosen people. And it's not even made clear in the Bible why he chose the group he did. According to their behavior in the Bible, the ancient Hebrews weren't particularly virtuous or brave or intelligent or superior to the other tribes in their region. It's as though God chose his chosen people by putting a hand over his eyes and just pointing at a random spot on the map. Worse yet, the savage warmongering of the Hebrews depicted in the Old Testament is justified by the fact that they were just doing God's will, which means that Yahweh's personal direction made them far worse, not better. Are we sure he only chose the one tribe? The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.